it's still just in the back of my mind, like, you failed. Good morning. I can't really remember what the last thing I kind of did was, I think it was a get ready with me, which the mighty have fallen. This is just me, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was preparing for my first patient in-person specialized patient encounter, which was awesome. My patient was like, yeah, you were great, communicated everything to me, you took an interest in my life, and the way that I was asking questions and like filling that in, making her feel seen and feel heard was just spot on. I felt good about it. And I say that now just because yesterday we had our full-on Osce. An Osce at school is basically your exams for patient care, so your actual doctoring skills. And yesterday we had an hour-and-a-half long Osce in which we saw 2 patients, and we were primarily focusing on history taking. It's when you go in to the doctor's office, you sit down and they're like, how are you feeling today? I see that you're coming in for chest pain. Can you tell me a bit about how that started or what that pain feels like, how long you've been having that pain for? You kind of speak with them, then you go over like a verbal physical from head to toe. These guys are trained to only answer the questions that you ask. I can't tell them, tell me about your chest pain, because they're like, it hurts. You have to be like, okay, how does it feel? Is it a throbbing pain, a stabbing pain, a burning pain? And they will tell you, no, well, it is more like a stabbing pain. So you have to really be thorough and ask those questions. One of them was great. We bonded so well. We talked about our kids. If they were real or not, I don't know. But in the patient role-playing world, we talked about her kids. It was amazing. My first patient was a male, and of course, I've had, I want to say like 3 male patient encounters. They are so good at just not really wanting to connect. Like I would try and, you know, tell dad jokes, and like you ask what they do and they're like, oh, marketing. Oh, that's so great. Have you like done any ads that I would have seen? He was like, probably. What am I supposed to do with that? I'm trying to get to know you. And then he was like leaning over, like not interested, and I'm like, great. Especially that was my first encounter. They assess us on how well we did. 1, it's like recorded, and the patient has an entire rubric that they grade us on. But 2, outside of the encounter room, we have to do one of 2 things. We write out our history of a present illness, like our huge paragraph of why they're in today, or 2, you answer this like 15 to 20 question quiz about the information that you should have gathered. And that's where I figured out that I definitely forgot to ask 2 important things: allergies to medication and alcohol use. And that's always the thing that I worry about, is that I try and make these connections. What's your favorite vegetable? Not Brussels sprouts. Well, mine's Brussels sprouts. And I forget the clinical aspect side of it. But are patients gonna wanna come back to you, and are they gonna like their doctor simply because you asked about whether or not they drink alcohol? Or are they going to return to you because you took an interest in them as a person? How interested was my doctor in seeing me as a person rather than me as a set of symptoms, as a set of clinical information and manifestations? When I was taking that survey, I was like, you know what? It's fine. Like, if I miss 2 points out of this 20 right now, it's okay. It did prompt me for my next encounter to make sure that I asked that. I'm not gonna dwell on it at the same time. I feel and I hope that I passed, because I don't wanna have to stay here an extra day in December to redo everything and redo that encounter rather than fly back home for winter break, you know? To be honest, guys, I'm feeling like crap. Around like 2:50, I got an email from one of our deans at the school saying, unfortunately, I did not meet the minimum requirement for the initial history taking Osce. So the coordinator of the docs class will be contacting me to set up a meeting. Did I miss a few questions during the patient exam? Yes. I didn't think that majority of the weight was not placed on the actual patient exam, but on the information that we elicited. I guess I had put a lot of pressure on myself for that first time, especially because the remediation, the meeting overview scheduled for December 2nd, so on Thursday, and then the retake, which is December 17th. And I put so much pressure on myself for the initial Osce because the 17th is the day that I'm supposed to fly home because my sister's bridal shower is on the 18th. It sucks. And meeting with my tutor and advisor, they were like, okay, how has the docs course been for you? And honestly, I was like, it's been great. Like, I thought it was great up until 10 minutes ago. They have been the two that for each patient interview, whether it's at the hospital or Zoom with a virtual patient, they've been observing me and they're like, no, the way that you speak to patient and your interview skills, it's up to par and it's perfectly aligned of where it should be right now. And then my tutor did tell me that, you know, he himself was in my same situation. He was like, don't get so sad. You're fine, take a breath. I know it sucks getting that letter, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you completely failed. That is generated from just kind of like a threshold of points. The faculty like read your HPI, give it a grade, pop it into the computer. The computer takes your grades from both of the patient interviews and the quiz and that faculty thing. And it's black and white. How did you do basic numbers? It's shot out in the computer and it's generated. So the course coordinator will kind of overview everything that we inputted that day along with the grading rubrics from the standardized patients themselves, and we'll go over it, and then they'll also rewatch it because we are recorded. They'll rewatch to see maybe you just need to get better at like writing the HPI, writing the story, or you got the information but it was slightly wrong and it wasn't what the template said that it was supposed to be. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it's logistically I fell short somewhere regarding the quiz of like the information, or whether or not it was just a phrase or writing something in my HPI that didn't make sense. I'm also second guessing, like, did I even click the submit button on the HPI? Like, when I was typing it up, I know I clicked it, but did I? And I will say that my HPI, like history of present illness, was just a paragraph because they said that was the main things to only have the pertinent information. Whereas all semester we have been writing like a 1 to 2 page long complete HPI. Am I supposed to write out the entirety of the review of systems? Some people said yes, some people said no. At the sales center, they said, no, it's just your HPI, so I didn't write that, and maybe that's where I faltered. But overall, I won't know till Thursday. Right now, it kind of sucks, and I tried really hard, and I thought it went well, and then just to get that email back saying that I did not pass that minimum. I really just don't want to stay for December 17th either. I'm really praying that I don't. I hope that it's just like, I was just stupid and selected wrong answers on the quiz. Morning. I shouldn't even say morning anymore. It's like 11:25. I'm just really anxious about my docs meeting. So I got the email last night, which I think is just very poor like communication. I think everybody was on edge yesterday when I was at school and they were all talking about it and they were like, I haven't received any emails. And you know, I didn't want to be like, oh, you're safe, because those that received an email on Tuesday are the ones that have to remediate. You know, it's kind of like putting myself out there a bit, which I'm not ready for that. By the time this video is up, hopefully I am. I mean, I told my close friends yesterday who were like really kind of like going crazy about it, and I was like, well, if you haven't received an email yet, you are pretty much safe. I have a meeting with one of the coordinators for the clinical skills today at 1:30. We're gonna go through everything, like all the feedback, see where we went wrong. I'm still really holding out hope that it was like a couple points and I really don't need to do the entire patient interaction again, and it was just the write-up that I kind of screwed up on. I'm kind of just like buying time until 1:30. I would go to the gym, but then I'm like, I'm just too anxious and giddy right now to really do anything. I'm gonna go ahead and eat my plated bowl of oatmeal, drink some coffee. I need this meeting to be over with. I need to know what I did wrong, how to be better, and hopefully it all works out. Everything is kind of just, I feel like it's been slowed down or at a pause until this meeting at 1:30 comes. I'm just very anxious, as you can tell. It's now 2 o'clock. I just finished my meeting. I don't know what I was freaking out for. I guess I really just thought that it was my patient interaction. Basically, the director went over our specialized patient encounters and then our assignments, or like our graded portion, quiz or questionnaire about the relevant patient information that we should have gotten, and then our HPI write-up. Even she was surprised because I was like, oh man, like going through it. I already had a worried look on my face, and she's like, okay, don't, like, I already skimmed your stuff. I know it's hard to like get the notification that you have to redo and remediate, but your case is not terrible, because I already looked defeated. And she was like, a lot of your peers, they are struggling with the patient interaction and the connection with the patient. That is not the case for you. One, I got 2 questions wrong on the questionnaire, and the patient that I thought I was not vibing with apparently loved me and thought I took thorough interest in his life, because that was the comment that he wrote. And he was like, I would love, like, I would see this patient or this physician again. And I was like, wow, for somebody that I didn't think we clicked too much, solid. And then the second one, loved that I took an interest in not only herself, but also made a connection between what her career is and the shows that she likes watching on Netflix. Loved how I basically eased her anxiety about being a mom by telling her that she was a super mom. It basically all came down to my write-up. So the quiz I passed, both patient interactions I passed, and it was the write-up. It was the thing that we've been doing all semester. I have been too succinct on the write-up. They do not want pure succinctness. When I went to transcribe it into my notes, I kind of just did the pertinent information. Like if someone were to scan a patient's notes, like what physicians often do, they're looking for the main signs and symptoms and complaint. And you know, as a just starting out medical student, they don't want us to skip information. Basically on the grading, there's buzzwords and keywords in which you were supposed to elicit from the patient interaction. And obviously, if you are being succinct, you are not writing those buzzwords. So, because it's a failure to write it, you do not receive the points. Honestly, when I saw my grade for the write-up, I like started tearing up. And she was like, well, how are you feeling? And I was like, I thought it was the patient interaction that I was freaking out about. I've been holding so much stress and anxiety for the last 2 days just to know that it was my way of writing. So now I have to find that balance between clinical and flowery again. If you can see, my energy has changed, and I am just happy to know that it was not my patient interactions. Unfortunately, I will have to go in and remediate and do another patient interaction, but it is just one patient interaction, and it is doing the thing in which we failed to do properly the first time. All I know is write everything down, like fully, okay? Like fully write it down. That has been my anxiety, my over pressure on myself for the last 2 days that has kind of drained all my energy and motivation and determination to do anything. And now that I know it really wasn't a big deal, the way I'm writing is something that comes with practice in like the ED notes, years and years and years into your practice, and not really how I should be writing as a first semester medical student. I can still be my confident, bubbly self with my patients. It's just typing and writing everything out. We shall finally be able to focus and study and stop giving myself such a hard time. All right, great.